How's it going, Mets and overall baseball fans? Welcome back to the channel. And folks, we have a massive discussion because the Mets aren't done making moves yet this offseason. They have more to be had, especially on the offensive front. But before we get into all the latest reports, all I ask is that if you're new to the channel, don't hesitate from smashing that like and subscribe button. Help us get to 20k subs, because once we hit that short-term goal, we'll be doing a big giveaway of a Justin Verlander or Kodai Senga jersey, whichever the winner prefers. So make sure to smash those buttons. Thank you guys all so much in advance. And of course, I have to let you all know that today's show is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is your #1 source for all your sports betting needs, so make sure you head over to betonline.ag using promo code Bleav at BLEAV. That way you get yourself a 50% off welcome bonus. BetOnline, it's where the games begin. And now, folks, let's let the show begin, because last night was absolutely absurd. After hypothetical discussions of Carlos Correa and the Mets were happening, we saw late last night from Ken Rosenthal on the left to then the right that yes, the Mets are actually showing interest and pursuing the star shortstop. Then on the right, you see not long after, he signs a monster 13-year, $350 million contract with the San Francisco Giants. Don't blame the Mets one bit for not going there on 13 years for Correa. Wish him all the best there in San Francisco. But raw reactions to this is the Mets' potential pursuit of Correa lasted just about as long as A-Rod and J-Lo's potential pursuit of buying the Metropolitans a couple of years ago, right? But all jokes aside, yes, the Mets did actually have a level of interest in Correa, more so on the shorter term. From rumblings that I saw, was higher AAV than any other team was offering. But again, Correa wanted a long-term deal. The Giants got a little nervous, so they literally threw him 13 years. He's not going to be a free agent until he's 41 years of age. He's 28 right now. Absolutely ridiculous. But again, he gets the bag. He banked on himself, and he deserves that. But now let's talk about, okay, the Mets had a potential pursuit of Carlos Correa. So what do they do now? Well, in the process, from Ken Rosenthal's article, The Athletic, links down below to check it out after this, as always, guys, is that the Mets are pursuing bats because Steve Cohen truly believes that the Mets need more offense in this lineup. 101-win ball club this past year, but they can use more, and they're already showing interest and have been linked in discussions with both JD Martinez, recently of the Boston Red Sox, a trade deadline target this past season for the Mets, and former Met and Michael Conforto, who missed the entire 2022 campaign with a shoulder injury that he suffered before the last season even began. So really interesting stuff here. And again, we talked about Michael Conforto at length on the channel. You guys know we discussed him a month ago when the Mets were originally linked to him as a potential replacement if they lose out on Nimmo. And I said that I would love a Conforto return, but far more in the scenario where he's, say, a corner outfielder splitting time with Canna and a DH based on matchups versus being a Nimmo replacement, because no one can properly replace Nimmo. So I'm not nearly as bothered by these reports that the Mets are showing interest here in Conforto. But let's start here with JD Martinez, because we've spoken a lot about JD over the past year, because leading up to the trade deadline, the Mets were heavily linked with Martinez. Eventually, he did not get dealt by the Red Sox, and as you see from his stat line, didn't have a bad season by any stretch, but really struggled in the second half, like a lot of other DH possible fits for the Mets at the trade deadline. Himself, Josh Bell, and Trey Mancini, all guys that did not look great in the second half of the year. But you see here for JD Martinez, still had 16 home runs, 76 runs scored, 62 RBIs, a 274 average, a 341 OBP, and a just under 800 OPS. So JD, at the age of 35 now, in his career, he still averages 872 OPS. Career average, right? You look at his career norms, season average, I should say, 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. That's how good JD Martinez has been throughout the entirety of his career during his time with the Tigers, the D-backs, and of course, that being most recently the Boston Red Sox, in which he won a championship with them. So Martinez, when you're looking for a bat in the DH position and potentially platoon with Daniel Vogelbach, assuming he's not dealt, Martinez is great for a guy that even last season had right around a 1,000 OPS against southpaws, including 5 home runs. So the home run rate was down, but still raking against lefties. So if you're looking for a strictly a platoon DH, JD Martinez fits that bill on a 1 or potentially 2-year deal with an option after the first year. Wouldn't be opposed to that whatsoever. However, what are the grapes with JD Martinez? It's a couple things. One, the guy's strictly a DH. You naturally have a hole again, like you did with Darren Ruff and Vogelbach last year, if you want to have 2 guys on this roster that can't play more than the DH position. JD has like no defensive upside right now at this point in his career. We know that same thing with Vogelbach, and Martinez had some significant significant injuries with his back down the stretch last year. So obviously in the scenario where the Mets sign him, there would be clearance on his back because they have to look at his medicals. It's not just something where they're going to sign him even though he has a broken back or something. But point is that what is his health status right now heading into next season? That's a big question mark, because again, if you sign JD Martinez, I don't expect him to be the big bopper 30-35 home runs like he has been in recent years. However, what is his projections for next season as of now through Fangraphs? 20 home runs, 70 RBIs, a 260 average or so. I mean, that'll definitely fill the bill for what the Mets are looking for at the DH position. So sign me up. I'm not opposed to that. If that is the type of JD Martinez we are getting on a short-term contract, that's exactly in the route for what the Mets would hope for. But at the same time, you want more versatility. So could the Mets lay in both the Martinez and a Michael Conforto? It's not impossible, but I'd imagine that one bat is far more likely than both of them. And Michael Conforto, I'm not going to harp on too much more here. We've discussed him recently. Again, 2021 campaign was not pretty, but let's not forget that Michael Conforto, at his best in his career, is a guy that'll easily give you 20 plus home runs this season. Hits for opposite field, is going to take full advantage of not having to shift for the upcoming season and beyond. Someone that can be sly in this Mets line, knows exactly how to hit at Citi Field because he's been a Met his entire career. Is still not even 30 yet in his career at the age of 29, has so much upside still. I think that he's definitely a guy worth taking a risk on, especially in the scenario where you platoon him with, say, a Marcana. Again, Conforto, how much playing time would he get next year would be completely indicative on not only his playing time, also the roles with Canna and DH, but you look at the gripes of Michael Conforto. Yes, he was a stud defensively. Was in like the 75th percentile or so, and now it's above average in his 2021 season. And his arm strength, 89th percentile. So Michael, you look at his walk percentage. There's a lot of positives with Michael Conforto from this past season. Walk percentage, 87 percentile. Chase rate, 81 percentile. Whiff percentage, 62 percentile. Barrel percentage, 58 percentile. Max exit velo, 80 percentile. So even K percentage is above average. So even in a down year in 2021, still a lot to like about Michael Conforto and his potential upside, but the downside here is, one, exactly how good is he going to look after missing an entire season in 2022, and two, how does he fit for the Mets here when it's in the best interest of Michael Conforto to sign a deal somewhere where he's pretty much guaranteed to play every day? What's a bigger priority for him right now? Because if it's not a contract like it was leading into his walk year with the Mets, I just don't foresee a world why he would want to return when he can be a guaranteed outfielder every single day somewhere else. I assure you that if he signed with the Mets, he would not be playing every day, and that is the difference here. Because Daniel Vogelbach, again, a guy that can't hit lefties well. Michael Conforto has been notorious for not doing well against southpaws. 2021, injuries aside, I know it was an injury-riddled season with his hamstring. I'm a Michael Conforto lover. I know this guy pretty well, I would say. However, sub 600 OPS, right? 2020 season, shortened season, 870 OPS, but that's a small campaign. 2019, when Michael Conforto really broke out, even with the juice baseballs, still did not have strong numbers against lefties. So it tells you that the Mets brought him in. I don't foresee a world where they would bring him in as a DH without trading maybe Daniel Vogelbach, because they're two of the same. Guys are far better against righties than they are lefties. Yes, he hits for oppo, but he still struggles against southpaws, lefty on lefty at this point in his career from a consistent aspect. So corner outfielder slash DH would love him. The question is that best for Michael Conforto in his career right now, trying to get back in the groove of things and hopefully get a long-term deal in a year or two? I just don't know if that is the case with the Mets. But Mets fans, I want to know your thoughts in the comments below about these two players. Again, I would love either of them, if not both of them. I am in favor of defensive versatility. That's something that JD Martinez does not give you. So the Mets do not land him. I'd imagine that that is a factor as to why. And for Conforto, I think it's more of a situation as Conforto wanting to go elsewhere to have a fresh start and play every day versus coming to a Mets team that, while it's loaded, a team that he will also be a little bit more limited as to the role that he will have on the club and its offense. But guys, let me know all your thoughts down below. And again, if you found yourself enjoying this kind of Mets content and you want to see more great Mets content like this, don't hesitate from smashing that like and subscribe on. Help me get to 20K subs for our next short-term goal. Thank you guys all so much in advance. And of course, I'll talk to you again real soon. Let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.